Welcome to Pizza Talk. I'm Peter Reiner, and I'm with Alex Manzo and Massimo Saieva, who are the founders and creators of the Roman Pizza Academy. And I've been excited about this because when I first met you a few years ago at Pizza Expo and then at the Atlantic City Pizza and Pasta Show, I felt like your booth was the most action-packed booth in the whole show. I mean, there was so much. It was so new. It was so beautiful. It was striking, and the
Thank
product.
you for that.
Yeah,
Really
and then I started watching your videos.
You were the first one, telling me that the product was very nice and good and everything, the fermentation. So for me, you are the best. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was impressive, so impressive, and then I watched your videos and saw how you made your doughs and unique step that you took to do that. So I got very excited, and I felt like, even then, okay, we're going to keep tracking this because this is going to be big. And since then, it's been a couple of years now. Now everybody knows about Roman style pizza, but there's also a lot of, I guess, different ideas of what Roman style pizza is and Roman pizza is. So could you guys, and of course, Alex is, if you could also help us understand a little bit about how you and Massimo got together, because you kind of represent the ingredient side of the equation, if I understand it right, and Mas is the artist and the craftsman of all this. So yeah, give us a little story of how this all happened.
Yeah, I'll start. Massimo and I met 7 years ago. Massimo had a little place in downtown Miami that I frequented, and at the time, Roman style pizza, I didn't even know what it was. And I've been to Rome. I grew up in Rome and Naples, and I didn't really know what the product was. But going there and learning a little bit more about the background of what the pizza was all about, and learning from Massimiliano, with his experiences, and I enjoyed the pizza so much. I started taking clients and friends to his pizzeria, and I would swear by his pizza. And him and I, formed this bond, and we started the academy probably a couple of years after that. It was more just friendship than anything. We would go and enjoy pizzas together and just chat. And then at that point, we decided, hey, look, there's a demand for this style, and I think we can say we're one of the pioneers. We started the style has been around for a long time, but in the United States it was hardly known, and we felt like there was a demand for it, upcoming demand, and then him and I got together and started the academy about 4 years ago, and right at the beginning stages, and 100+ students later, we half 80% of the restaurants in the United States are students of his, so we're pretty proud of that.
And Alex, when you guys first met, were you already in the ingredients and products business then?
Yeah, absolutely. It stemmed more from the fact of my passion of the style than anything, in our friendship. I said, this guy's special. we need to get together and do something here. I sell flour, I sell ingredients, but we don't, that's not our primary focus in the school. We want to teach people about the style. Of course we want to sell product ultimately, but we don't ever push the product on people. We have them try whatever it is that they want to try, and then if they feel like that's something that we supply all of the means, all of the means to open up a pizzeria. So yeah, I've been doing this, I've been importing products for over 40 years in the United States. My dad started the company, and so yeah, but it was never a basis on the ingredients, even though it's a plus, but that just wasn't one of our focuses at the time. It was just more just the passion for the style and the product that he made. It's one of those things, you see it at the Pizza Expo when you go and you see it on display and you look at it, and it's absolutely beautiful. People there's no way it can taste as good as it looks. And then you put it in your mouth and you enjoy it for the first time, and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever had. And
that's not like any pizza that we're used to in America. It's a whole different style. It's a different way. It's a different texture, everything.
Because usually when I go to the Pizza Expo, I like to make something gourmet, different. So many times was a problem with customers because they used to say this product is way too expensive, but that's not true, because every time I travel and I open restaurant, making startup, I always say to my students, work local recipe. So if I go to New York to make I don't know, vodka pizza with a crust Roman style pizza, it's perfect. Okay, so buffalo chicken, why not? I mean, your goal is to make your customer happy. So you don't have to sell the Roman recipe because people don't know about bresaola, about, I mean, many ingredients that doesn't work here in the US. So I was in Mexico like 3 months ago. Wow, I made pizza like al pastor. I never made pizza al pastor in my life. So I use like a Mexican menu for Roman style. That's the idea because the taste of the customer is different. They love spicy, chili, and everything. So I work a lot with that.
When you have a great crust, which is really, for me, 80% of the pizzas, 80 to 90%, it's all about the crust. The topping is like the bonus. So when you have a great crust, and your crust, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. And in our next episode, we're also going to, you're going to take us through some steps of making it. But in this episode, we'd love to talk about sort of what it is philosophically and theoretically, and how it compares to other styles of the Roman approach. A lot of people know about Gabriele Bonci as one voice of the Roman style. Some of us, and Nancy Silverton was on one of our episodes, and she talked about going to the Campo de Fiore, where they have the old Antico forno, and it's just a red and a white. There's nothing on top except just oil or sauce. And then what you did, and what I saw at the show, was that you took that and then also made this beautifully decorative top with fresh ingredients that went on after the pizza came out of the oven, some that went on before it went in there, all that. It's all part of the stuff. So we want to hear all about the philosophy, but maybe if you could talk a little bit about what makes that crust so unique. And again, I want to point out to those who have never heard about this or haven't met either Massimo or Alex before. We did an interview on Pizza Quest about 2 years ago where we talked about a lot of these things. So please go back on Pizza Quest and bring them up on the interview section, and you can get some background. But we'll catch you up right here on screen, since this is the first time we've had a chance to do something like this in person. So anyway, I'm sorry, I want to let you explain it all rather than me. So if you could just take it from here and tell us a little bit about what it is that makes Roman pizza Roman pizza.
So, okay, when I was here 10 years ago, I started making baking Roman pizza like a classic Roman pizza. And I had problem because I have some complaints with my customers because they used to say the crust is very light, but the taste is more like bread. So I changed a lot from 10 years ago, and I create something different. My dough is like a mix with the bread technique, pastry technique, and pizza technique dough. So it's like a 360 degrees a concept dough. So it's completely different. So the idea was to make the lightest product ever. And today I think I'm pretty close to reach that.
Still working on it, huh?
Still working. I'm waiting that the pizza can fly alone. So
I like that it's always a work in progress, and it's always like search for the holy grail. You're just reaching for the next perfect one.
So that was my goal, and I changed a lot. And today I'm pretty proud of the product. I don't say my product because it's our product, because with my students we have like a family. So every time I make a change, I improve my product. They call me or they write me, please tell me how you do that, and then I say, of course, the way. So it's like it's sharing, pizza sharing.
What are some of the things that you have changed along the way to keep making it better and better and better?
Let me interrupt if you don't mind. So I like to define the pizza as, I use a few words to describe it, but I usually say light, airy, crunchy, chewy. And it's hard to imagine all four of those words together in one, but that's kind of the definition. That's kind of the way we describe the pizza. How do you get chewy and crunchy at the same time? Well, he does that, and it creates this wonderful, elastic, but crunchy product. So the Roman pizza over time, initially the traditional style of Roman pizza is a little bit thinner. But the reason it's thinner is because a lot of the times it's the lack of the fermentation. I'm by no means a pizza expert. He's the expert. But this is how I would describe it to most customers, right?
If you think the Roman style pizza was born I mean, many years ago in Italy, and of course, the first Roma style pizza was made with the extra virgin olive oil, so with the fat, so it was very heavy. So it was easy to make a thin crust pizza. Today, with the technique, it's better if we can show a very nice crust, light and everything, but with the technique.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean that we cannot make the thin crust pizza, because we can do everything. I go to New York, I had the students like in the Chelsea market that they asked me to make a very thin pizza like in pistachio Rome. So now they are baking a perfect, super thin Roma style. And that's easy, it's not difficult. But talking about your question, what I changed it. And
well, let's say, before you say, it's not a change, it's an evolution. We think of it as an evolution of the product.
I think of it as tweaking.
Yeah, the whole product is evolving. It's becoming more sophisticated with the technologies we have with milling the flours as well. What we can actually get from the flour, what the flour can give to us, especially your knowledge of the whole fermentation process and the time, the temperature, all these things he goes over in his courses. But that's, I think, a huge part of it.
Yeah, that was actually my secret ingredient are pretty true. So it's time and temperature, and of course the hydro. So I play a lot with that. I was born like a cook. I don't say chef because it's a big word. So I used to make molecular cuisine and everything. And actually I was 9 years ago, the first making molecular cuisine using the foam for pizza or microsphere when, I mean, they didn't start selling microsphere in Italy. So it was very nice for me because it's already 27 years that I am in the restaurant business. I'm not so young. So
you look young.
I'm not young either. I try to be with the bandana, but not.
You're pulling it off well.
So it's very easy, and trust me when I tell you that time and temperature are the real secret in the kitchen. They are 100%. If you change a little bit, you change totally the product. If we talk about proofing, you have a product. If you talk about fermentation, you have a totally different product. If you go over the fermentation, and that's my goal today, so I'm working with 120, 104 hours, I think you have the best product ever of your life. So it's difficult to control the time in this case, but you can play with the temperature. So that's my goal. When my students come in my place, I teach them how to play with time and temperature, depending the city where they live and the ingredient that they use. Okay, so that's the real deal. That's the goal of all the pizza maker, bread maker, or chef.
Yeah. I find it very interesting to me that that you really extend your fermentation time out to, what did you say, 120 hours or so?
144.
Yeah.
144 hours? Wow, so that's how many days? That's like 7 days almost, you know? Huh?
6 days.
6 days. And when I first saw it, I think you were doing it 4 or 5 days. It was like 90 hours. And, or I think, if I recall, maybe 90 to 96. So it was, and each day you're doing some folding to the dough. You're starting out with a very wet dough that changes each day. Is that correct? Am I correct about that?
Correct, totally correct. So actually, if you see the product, usually we say when we make Roma style pizza, always we give to the customer 2 hours. So let's say 48, 72. So 2 days, okay, 48, 72, be fermented. Then we say 72, 96, or we can say 96, 120. So always days, because it's impossible to give only one number. Like I bake pizza 96 hours. It's impossible because sometimes we sell more, sometimes we sell less. So we play with 2 numbers. My number usually go over the 96 hours. So that's my goal. People can say, okay, but you need a very huge refrigerator. I always say that the heart of the pizzeria is the refrigerator, because without the cooler, you have no product. You're going to compete with a lot of pizzeria that can bake better pizza than you. That's on you. Or you can just make a normal fermented pizza, like the pizza that you try in the Pizza Expo is only 15 hours. It's nothing. less than 24 hours.
That's magic, Peter.
So that's
15 hours. That's the one that you make at the show.
yeah, yeah. Because usually I make
because you make it there. You make it at the expo. You don't bring it with you from Florida. Is that correct? So you have to make it when you get there. So,
Peter, I had students. I mean, they're students, very huge company. They sell product in the biggest grocery market in the US. And when they come here, they ask me for a product ready in 4 hours. Okay, so I have to make something different because they use a truck of flour every 4 hours. So once again, it's time and temperature.
Yeah.
That's the secret. But for me, it's a fake fermentation. I can make a fermentation without problem. But when you try the real one, it's done.
Totally. So, you know, the other thing that I noticed about it is that it is very airy, and as Alex said, it also has that crunch factor, and you get the snap and the crack, and I call it almost like a crackly, buttery, toasty undercrust, and yet, and it may look to the eye maybe a half an inch or like looks like a focaccia almost in thickness, but then it doesn't fill you up with a lot of bread because it's so much air, and it's very creamy. The internal structure and texture is very, very creamy, which I find to be sort of the goal when I'm working with those pan style pizzas and focaccias and all that I love to get crackle on the outside but creaminess on the inside, and you achieve that. But what happens? So you were and you're saying you can get that in even under 24 hours, but it just gets better and better and better the more times you get to fold it and give it some fermentation time. Is that correct?
That's correct, 100%. So, I mean, for me, that's the best product. So when I sell my product, my goal is over the 96 hours, of course. But when I travel, I make the perfect product in 48, 72, it doesn't matter. So changing the location and the temperature, I make the product for my students. So there is no problem, absolutely.
Well, now in Miami, you've got the school, the Roman Pizza Academy, where people come and learn the technique, but you also still have a restaurant as well?
Inside Academy, yes. I'm selling the pizza because when we started was a shame. So we were throwing away a lot of pie, a lot of pizza every day, and that wasn't fair. So I'm selling pizza now today. Actually, I opened the place with the coronavirus. So I am one of the lucky ones to open the pizzeria in the same time as the coronavirus. But I think is ending already, the coronavirus and everything. So we are very close. Wasn't easy for everybody.
When you were selling the pizza to the public, they come in and they order it. It's already pre-cut. Is it pre-baked? And do they pay by the piece or by the weight, or how do you sell the pizza?
So I like to say that the formula of the Roman style pizza is always the same one. Okay, the concept, like we bake the pizza, is the same one. But I like to say to my students that they have different formats to sell the pizza. Can be by the weight, by the slice, can be a portion. You can make like, I don't know, like glazed pizza, for example. You have the pizza, you put the topping, and then you sell the individual pizza to the customer too. That's another way. You can make a take and bake, like a grocery store. So there are too many ways to sell the product. And the good thing is that the crispiness of the Roman style pizza is so long that usually Napolitan pizza after 8 minutes more or less lose the quality, right? The Roman style pizza after 40 minutes is still crispy, so it's perfect for delivery. And not only, if you think the Roman style pizza was born like to be similar to bread, you know, because the first Roman style pizza in the 1900 was like a flat bread just to check the oven if the heat was already hot enough or not. So that was the first Roman style pizza in the 1900s. So in this case, we have this beautiful product, and it's going to be good the next day too. So for another concept, and today, trust me, because I had guys in Brazil, in Chile, and to open like una fabbrica di pizze.
factory.
Yeah, it's like a pizza factory,
Uh-huh.
and then send the pizza bases to the different small pizzerias. You understand? So
Like a commissary almost.
they don't need to spend a lot of money to open a second, a third, a fourth pizzeria. They just have one central kitchen, okay, and then they send the product to the other one. So this is the evolution, and I think it's going to be in the US.
And you know, it's very timely because a pizza that can stand up to transportation, to time, and a little travel, you know, it's got legs, and you don't lose the quality when you don't get it right out of the oven like that, which is the problem with the Neapolitan style pizza. It's never as good in the box as it is at the the minute after. So it's been quite a journey for you guys to build this up and to create, in a sense, create an entire you know, new style, bringing a new style to the United States. And how has that been going? We just have a few more minutes in this segment, so maybe we'll spend it talking about how it's been going up till now, and then when we come back in the next segment, we'll talk about how to make it and where it's all going from here.
Yeah. So, you know, since we started the school about 4 years ago, we've taught probably close to 150 to 200 students. Most of them, 90% of them, all professionals wanting to open up their pizzerias. Like I said before earlier, majority of the pizzerias, Roman style pizzerias around the country have been our students in Massimiliano. He's actually even taught two reigning champions at the Pizza Expo. So Giuseppe Manco was the first ever to win with this style in the United States. And then Derek Sanchez won the Caputo Cup a few years back.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to have Derek on Pizza Talk coming up in
Derek's a great guy. So the school's been going well. We've taught, I think, students from probably close to 25 countries right now. We have students as far as South Korea and Australia. They're coming from all over the world, and sometimes we look at each other and say, why? Why are they coming to the United States and not going to Italy?
I don't speak Chinese.
He has quite a following. So it's been an exciting journey, and we're really happy to see that the success of the students too. When you look and you see all of the students out there successful, it makes you proud, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So 100%, absolutely. It's been fun.
Is there a particular country that you would say is really kind of run with the ball and where it seems to be happening even faster than here?
No, not really. I think, like Neapolitan pizza, I think if you see what happened with the evolution of Neapolitan pizza, it came to the United States. We almost took it, we enhanced it. I don't say we enhanced it, but we put, as Americans, we put so much passion behind our products. We want to learn about it, where the roots came from. And I think that went back to Italy, and a lot of the things started changing there because of what we were doing here. I think the same thing is happening now with Roman pizza. Since we started about 4 years ago, we're starting to see everyone getting a lot more interested back in Italy about, they're getting excited about Roman pizza, and we're seeing it now at all these trade shows over there. And I don't want to say we feel like we have a lot to do with it. Like we started this whole, this whole thing, and we weren't the first to do it by any means, but I think we were able to market it in a way where we're able to show people and extend our reach out to countries all over the world. But no, I would say the United States, to answer your question, the United States right now seems to be the leader in the excitement behind Roman pizza.
But it's different because it's a different student. It's a different customer, the American. It's not just an artisan, it's a perfect manager. So if you teach, for example, in Italy, you are teaching to an artisan. If you teach to Americans, you teach to manager. So they think in a different way. I think much better than the Italian way.
They're students.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So you don't open, you are not opening just a pizzeria, you open 100 pizzeria, You give the know-how to 150 pizzeria, 200 restaurants. So that's the difference between Europe and US. Different numbers, different minds.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, we're talking with Alex Manzo and Massimiliano, or Massimo Saieva, of the Roman Pizza Academy. They're based down in Miami, the Miami area. Coral Gables, did you say, is where you?
Yeah, South Miami area.
Yeah, and when we come back in our next episode of Pizza Talk, they're going to actually show us how it's done. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you all for joining us for this segment. Come back for the next round, and we're going to see how to make Roman style pizza in the style of Massimo. Thanks so much, guys. Now to make some pizza, we were talking earlier in the last segment about sort of the whole evolution of your product and your version of Roman pizza, and I was trying to describe it in words, but words will never do justice to photos. So Massimo, do you want to take it from here, and or Alex, one of you just guide us through the whole process of how you make your version of Roman?
We can go inside the kitchen, right? Sure. I'm going to show you something.
You're gonna follow you in the kitchen? Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Love it. Love it. So by the way, walking, we're seeing what a great facility you have. Obviously, brand new facility. This is the school, right? This is the Roman Pizza Academy. Yeah. And for those who are just joining us, this is Pizza Talk. This is part 2 of Roman Pizza Academy with Alex, Manzo, Massimiliano, Saieva. In part 1, we talked about it. In part 2, we're going to do it. So go for it.
Okay, so we start now. We're going to make two pizzas, 2 Roma style pizza. So I'm going to start with flour, not semolina, because in my case, semolina is too hard. Again, it's more bread than pizza. So I prefer to use the same 00 that I used to make the dough. Okay, so we go.
So in your pizza dough requires a 00 flour. It's a particular flour that you would prefer.
I mean, in Europe now, in Italy too, they are making, for me, too many, I don't know, mixing too many different kind of products. So they are working with soy, with rice and something like that. I prefer the 00 simple, no? Like the classic one, but again, working with time and temperature, we can have the same effect of the other flour with soy and rice. So you don't need to use them to make them.
That's good to know. A lot of people feel that it's, if I can't get that flour, I can't make the pizza.
Absolutely not, Peter. Must be authentic and very simple. This is pizza, so it's easy. So these are 2 doubles that we have here. So we have 120 hours fermenting dough.
Wow, 120 hours of fermentation time, cold fermentation, and then and every day you fold it each day?
If you see the size of the box, the size is a 60 by 40 centimeter, and the double almost made the size of the box, so it's huge. But it's only 1.250 grams, so 1 kilo 250 grams, the double. So it's not so much.
A little over 2 pounds of dough.
That's correct. So now we do this. We wait a few seconds. All right. We have the beautiful doubles over here. And then we go again with the 00 flour on top. Roma style works a lot with flour. We work a lot with flour.
The flour is your friend.
Yeah, 100%. The good one. So now we take the blue steel pan. Blue steel pan. Why the blue steel? Blue steel is very fast to bake the pizza. Faster than the regular American regular pan, right? The aluminum one. So in this case, and you know better than me that the meaning of baking, you remove faster than you can the humidity of the product that you are baking, right? So in this case, accelerating the process of baking to a better crust, lighter crust. So, and that's why we use the blue steel pan.
The blue steel conducts the heat better, basically, is what you're saying. And again, that goes back to like the style of pans that are used for the Detroit style pizzas. They like the blue steel as well.
Absolutely, yes. Detroit style is very similar to our dough.
It is.
Look, this is just air. If you check now the dough.
Yeah. Starting to degas a little bit. By the way,
like water.
Did you have to oil that pan, or did you put it in without oil?
I use for the pan I use extra virgin olive oil.
So you oil it, okay.
It's like the old style Roma style pizza. They used to use the extra virgin. Today they use soy in Rome. I don't like it. No. Somebody don't use at all the oil. I prefer to give the taste to the bottom of the pizza of the extra virgin and the color. So it's much better for me, like always for me, not
For me as
nobody.
well, especially since the underside, the bottom of the crust is some part of the best part of it for some of us.
The texture part of the pizza, so it must be very nice. So take a look at this one. Very soft, watery, almost watery. And then we do this. Looks like a feather.
Yeah.
Look, we remove all the flour. So now we don't have flour, but we have total control. 120 hours. Looks like a 48 center oven.
Well, yeah.
Now, and that's the most important part, because I always say to my students, you can have the same dough, the same oven, 10 different pizza makers, and you're going to have 10 different pizzas, because the hands is a tool.
We always say these hands. Yeah.
The way I like to teach to my students is that I like to give them the signature, my signature, so they can make the same product of mine. That's my goal. No? So very gentle with the hands, just like this. And then it's easy, because the dough is so light that in just a few seconds, like this, is already covered. But now, we have just the dough on top of the pan, right? So we need a signature, because somebody can think the dough is on the pan, so the pizza is ready. It's not. Now we're going to create the bubbles inside the dough. And that's the way. So we work with two hands together, pushing up, giving the volume to our dough.
So you basically pat the dough into position using, it looks like more like like you're using your fingertips more than the palm of your hand, right?
That's correct. That's how.
Yeah.
I touch with this part of the hand. Now, be careful. Because when I talk about fermentation, about time and temperature, it's not only the dough temperature and time. We have the doubles too. Okay, so we have, and that's the big problem of the pizza maker, because they ask me every time, what's your oven temperature? That's a mistake. You cannot ask a simple question like that, because the changing the brand, okay, changing the size of the oven, changing the power that comes from out of the pizza base to your pizzeria, you have a different power, different heat.
Yeah.
So for me, every project is a different pizza project. When I travel and I open a restaurant, I have to study, first of all, the customers. Second, your plates, your temperature, your oven, your mixer is for real, is too many things. It's not just one. So
but that's the good news is, the good news is you can make it work. And if you don't have the same oven that you have, you can still make it work.
100%.
You just have to understand what the difference is.
I made Roman style pizza in places you have no idea. I was in Hawaii, because before I travel, I like to ask, do you have the double two-speed spiral mixer? Yeah, we do. Then I go to the place and I see the planetary mixer like 1980.
Like the Hobart, yeah.
Okay, exactly. And now try to make a 85% hydro dough with the Hobart machine. Try.
It's
And
hard.
then
Unless you have the paddle. Unless you have the paddle, then you can do it with the paddle.
I didn't sleep. You can see the picture in my Instagram. I didn't sleep that night, but the next day I was able to make the dough. Incredible. Then I saw the oven, because they told me, no, we have the 2-deck oven, perfect. Beautiful. Gas oven, 1980 oven, and the pizza was great. So that's the skill of the pizza maker. Okay. So now we're gonna stretch. I'm gonna stretch very fast. The second one. Here we go. So second. Again, very soft.
Sweet. And you mentioned that 85% hydration. Is that what you're using these days? 85%?
Yeah, correct. I made test with over 85% and was too much. I mean, I'm able to make dough with 100% water, with a different mixer, usually that go reverse. But for a business, it's not smart working with 100% water. So it's too much for a business. Here we go. So this is the second one. Again, the dough is super light. You can see.
Massimo, is there any oil in your dough when you mix it?
Absolutely, yes. If we talk about Roman style pizza, usually we talk about extra virgin olive oil. If you don't put extra virgin olive oil, you can use the same dough and you can make the best bread in your life. And you know that. You're a bread maker, so you're better than me. 100%.
But for the pizza dough, I liked having a little bit of oil in the dough itself. Yeah.
It's incredible. Taste is better, so it's very nice. So now we have two different pies, right? We go with the first one. Actually, we go with that one. So we go again with extra virgin olive oil.
Uh-huh. So oil under and oil on top.
Sea salt.
Little salt.
Sicilian sea salt from Trapani. Tomato sauce. Now, the other question that many times my students ask me is that, can we do something different with the tomato sauce? Of course that you can. Because Roma style tomato sauce is pretty simple. It's just sea salt and tomato, right? But if you go to New York, of course, they use different ingredients for the tomato sauce. So you can, of course. You have to.
So I remember when I was in Rome at the Campo di Fiore, and they had two pizzas. I think it was, if I remember, the Rouge and the Bianca, a red and a white. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that's kind of what you're doing here.
Be careful, because actually we have more styles with the Roma style pizza. So this is the classic one. This is the Bianca. Okay. Then we have the red one. Then we have the crostino. The crostino is the pizza that you stretch the dough and you put the ingredient on top, but not tomato sauce. So you can use the mozzarella cheese, sausage, everything you want, all the toppings that you want, but not tomato sauce. And that's the crostino.
So I didn't know that. So the term crostino would refer to a pizza with toppings but no sauce.
That's correct. That's correct. And it's a must in Rome. It's very simple, very easy to do. Now we are making. Now I put the red tomato sauce pizza to the left side, the white one to the right side. Why? Because of the flow of the oven. This is electric oven, so you know better than me that the flow is stronger to the left side for the electric ovens, all the brands, and softer to the right side. Why? Because we have the sensor of the heat to the right side of the oven, right?
Ah,
I
never knew that. That's a good lesson.
Yeah, Moretti neither. I told them when I was here.
They taught you that. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. And what temperature, in this particular oven, what temperature are you using?
So in this case, and that's because it's very small, the oven, because the fire department asked me to put a small oven for the food. So this one is very tiny. Temperature must be higher because we have less heaters on top and under the stone. So less heaters, higher temperature, okay? Because if there is a Roman style pizza maker, perhaps he's gonna tell me the setting is wrong. Because in Rome, everybody knows that usually to bake a white pie, a white pizza, is 60% of the heat the bottom, or 70, and 10% of the heat the top. Remember, we're talking about electric oven, so we have a computer. We can change the setting. You can bake everything you want with this kind of oven, smart oven. You can switch the temperature, and you can put 90% on top and 10% the bottom. You can bake a round pizza. You can bake a perfect bread, 225 Celsius degrees, 40 minutes, play with a vent for the humidity to make a nice crust. So you can make everything just like a car. Okay,
you have to know how to drive the car. Yeah,
that's correct. We have the brake they usually is this one, okay, the vent, or we have the door. Many times I like to explain to my students, playing with the door is much more faster than playing with this one with a vent. Why? Because the flow for the Roman style pizza work in this way, going on top of the pizza. So it's like this and then on top of the pizza. If you open the door, the flow of the heat goes outside, so you can still bake in the bottom, but the top is going to be perfect. Not burn, never. So nice color, gold color. Take a look to the white pie. You can see the tiny bubbles, and that's the fermentation, because everybody thinks the big one is the fermentation. No, it's the tiny one, the small one. That's the fermented dough. And that's the lightness, the crispiness, but nice crispiness.
Yeah.
Not hard, like a bread, which I love.
Those bubbles allow the moisture to evaporate out, and that way you can get that crispness. If it's too small, if it doesn't rise and it doesn't bubble up, then
that's correct.
And
again, Peter, we're talking about time and temperature. Okay, yeah. So we have the temperature here, which is the setting is 317 Celsius in my case, so 610 Fahrenheit more or less, right? So, but we have to remember that we have two different products. More humidity, left side, more heat, because it's an electric oven, less humidity for the white pizza, right side, less time. So usually when we bake a red pizza, it takes more or less 10 minutes for a red one. For a white one, it takes only 8 minutes. So much faster than the red one because we have less humidity. We don't have the tomato sauce.
I understand, sure.
So in this case, we play with the timer, and I like to teach how to work with timer to my students because the skill of the pizza maker perhaps was way too important many years ago. Today, our goal is to make always the same product. So that's the idea, right? If we work with timer, it's much easier for the restaurant owner to give to the customer always the same product. So that's the goal. Almost ready. 25 seconds.
Amazing. You mean it's been almost 8 minutes already?
Yeah, pretty fast.
Goes fast. The time is going fast.
It's very fast. So 10 seconds, we're gonna turn the pizza.
Feel like we need one of those little clocks in the corner of our screen so we can see a countdown. Okay, so you're doing a rotation. Okay, so that wasn't 8 minutes. So that was what, 4 minutes?
Okay, so usually that's a good question because I like to say 5 plus 5 for the red one, 5 plus 3 minutes for the white one, 5 plus 4 for the crostino. Okay, but always remember changing the brand, the oven, changing the size can change the time. So that's our goal, to bake a white pizza in 8 minutes. Okay, so I'm playing with the timer. I put only 3 more minutes for the white one, and then I put 2 minutes for the other one.
I understand. So, and I think that's probably people who are professionals. A lot of the people who watch these videos here are professionals, but there's also a lot of home cooks to whom this information is very new. But those who are in the business probably understand that because they know that they have to rotate. They know that they have to listen to their dough. They have to listen to the pizza and have the pizza tell them what it needs in order for it to come out at the right time.
100%. Now, for the home baker, I recommend to buy a small professional oven. Today it's very easy to buy a small oven or a nice mixer, professional, very small one, to make a 3 kilo dough. So if you want to bake for real, I mean, invest like $1,500 but you cannot use your own oven to bake a professional pizza. You cannot. I prefer to make a fried pizza, okay, a fried calzone or a montanara in my house than to bake a pizza and say this is a perfect pizza. It's not. It's not. So,
yeah.
You Caesar what Caesar wants. So take a nice oven, $500. It's not so expensive. And trust me, I saw students here, and they took this oven for their house, the big one.
Yeah.
Insane. Just for baking the Sunday with the friends, you know. So how many friends do you have? 200. Yeah. Wow. So
while the pizza's baking, can you tell us, are you currently teaching classes at the academy during this COVID period, or are the classes suspended?
We are giving one-on-one classes right now. Actually, last month we were packed. Every week we had the students, and that was, I mean, weird but interesting, because all of my students say that this is a perfect moment to train the staff and to be ready when everything is ended.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so
I hear a timer, which is always exciting to us because that means something's coming out of the oven.
So this is the first pizza, and it's a white one, right? Okay.
Right.
So remember, so you know better than me that when the fermentation go over, the color of the crust is whiter, right?
Yeah.
So we have always three different colors: the black, the gold, the white, because this is the life of the gold. Okay. So in this case, we have gold color. I don't know if you can appreciate the color like here.
Exactly.
So the gold color with 120 hours. And that's easy. It's not so difficult like people think.
So basically, by seeing the gold, that tells us you did not over ferment the dough. You fermented it perfectly, and you were able to do that. You have a range, 120 hours in this case, right? But it could be 96 hours. It could be.
That word over fermenting is interesting because when is over? If we are able to control time and temperature, what's over for you? 144, 200, 300?
That's what we don't know. The dough will have to tell us. Probably every type of flour probably has its own tolerance.
We decide.
Yeah.
We decide when is the right time. So
look at that. Yeah.
Super light, incredible light. Actually, it smells very, very good. And now the red one. Two more minutes.
2 extra minutes for the red. What are you looking? Are you checking for color again to make the decision?
No, it's not color. I was waiting 10 seconds, missing, because I say 10 minutes and now it's 10 minutes. That's because I trust the quality of my oven. So it's a computer for real. So now this is the red one.
So that would be sort of a raw, so a red.
This and this.
Oh, sweet.
Is a light crispiness. That's the secret. Light crispiness, not crunchy and hard. The crispiness has to melt in the mouth. It's like a croissant. That's my goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Sophisticated? Yes, but everybody can do it. And that's my goal, that you can eat this pizza everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you one thing is that when it's that good, when the crust is that good, you don't need a lot of fancy toppings. It could be red, it could be white, it could be crostino, but it starts with the crust. And I tell you, and the thing that's nice is it looks huge, but it's so much of it is air that you could eat quite a bit of it without feeling like you've eaten too much.
This is just like a canvas. You can paint everything you want. So that's the idea. Now the white one is interesting. You can see the bottom, the color.
Yeah. Good caramelization.
Gorgeous. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the white one Usually, I like to work with this one in two different ways. We can make a sandwich, or we can make an open sandwich. Today, it's very trendy to put the ingredient on top of the white pizza or the pizza alla palla. Okay, that's the easy way.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the crust doesn't take the taste of the ingredients.
Uh-huh.
Now, when you bake the pizza, like the crostino, with the topping on top, all the dough is going to take all the taste of the different ingredients. So that's a big product to sell to the customer. Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna take more time, 100%, than this one. This one is much easier. If I wanna make a delivery with this one, the pie is already on my rack. I put the ingredient on top, 3 minutes, done. Roma style pizza, one pizza maker can attend easily 300 people without problem, just one guy. So it's much easier than Napolitan because it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Much more difficult, no? That one guy can do everything.
How long would you let that cool before you try to cut it to, if you were going to make, like, just make even a...
Usually 7 minutes.
How many?
7 minutes usually.
Uh-huh.
But I can show you now.
I think, yeah, because we're going to run out of time. If we could cut one, just so you can show the structure. And then if we do run out of time, maybe we can come back and film a third segment if you have time.
So now it's going to be sticky because it's still very hot.
Still very hot, yeah.
Now, this is a red pizza, no? And usually a red pie, red pizza is difficult to see the open crust because of the humidity. Now, this one is, I mean, we took out the pizza 1 minute ago, so it's very hot and stick together. But
Yeah.
this is the open crust.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen this before, you cut those with the scissors instead of a knife.
Yeah, that's Roman tradition because we say that in this way we respect the crust. We respect all the work that we made, the 72, 96-hour fermentation. So it's a lot of time. So now I'm going to show you something very simple, easy to do. I'll show you how to make a nice pizza.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Do you have time? Why don't we take a break here because we're going to run out of recording time, and let's do a third segment and focus on how you finish it off and top it.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Okay, so join us again for segment 3, for part 3 of Roman Pizza with Massimo, Saieva, Alex Manzo's in the background. We'll come back and meet them again for another round in the very next episode of Pizza Talk. Thanks. We'll see you soon.